At 29 and I find myself wondering, what did happen to the last 10?
The alarm you set on your mobile phone rang at 7:45 o'clock. You rub your tired swollen eyes and reluctantly got out of the warm bed after pulling the warm blanket off. Opening the white curtains of your bedroom, you squint from the brightness and yawn before going to the bathroom. After brushing your teeth and taking a warm shower, you came back in your bedroom to slip into a white cotton and red pencil skirt. Doing a little bit of makeup on your face, you grab your bag in which you put the essentials and then you headed to your office. Time skip. As you reach the office, you wave to the employees and then rush to your desk where the stack of files were already placed to make you piss off. Jihu, all the best, bestie. This tag is specially placed by Mr. Jungkook, who asked me to inform you that you keep up the good work. She said, making you clench. Wyan, this man. I hate you, Mr. Jungkook. I hate you. You said, throwing yourself on black revolving chair. Jihu, I guess he is doing this on purpose. He is on mission of making your life a mayhem since the time he heard you. She said, dragging her chair a little closer to yours. Wyan, but I really didn't badmouth him. I was just telling his clients that I like the way he yells at his employees, the way he makes them do work like robots. I didn't really badmouth that icy cold man. You said, trying to justify your best friend who had no other choice than nodding her head in yes. Jihu, well, let it be. Do you need any help? She is looking at the mountain of files scattered around your desk. Wyan, no, no. If that assignment found out that you helped me, he will probably fire you from this job, and I really don't want to lose you. You said, looking at her. Jihu, Wayani, you are so kind. I also don't want to lose a best friend like you, she said between the sobbings. Wyan, hey, don't cry. I didn't want to hurt you, you said, patting her back. Jihu, oh, those were tears of joy, bestie, she said. Wyan, no, let's head back to the work before that icy man saw us gossiping in working hours, you said, making her nod as she went back to her desk. After some time, you were working on the company annual revenue file when you saw that Jungkook had not signed on it till now. With a groan, you stood up from the chair and closing your laptop, you rushed to his cabin. Wyan, this man, you groaned, knocking at his cabin door. But no one answered from inside. You knew that he was doing that intentionally to make you piss off, or in other words, he wanted you to feel that how bad one could be. You crumpled the file and knocked super loudly this time while clicking your red pencil heels on the marble floor. A sigh of relief left your mouth when he finally said to come in. You pulled open the glass door and saw him sitting on the chair, looking at some files which were placed on his desk. He didn't even bother greeting you or giving you a glance. You made a and threw at him as if he was busy checking the files, so you thought it would went unnoticed by him. But unfortunately, it did get his attention as he looked up at you with his dark, intense eyes. Jungkook, so Miss Wyan. He growled, anger raising his voice. You kept forcing a fake smile at him. Wyan, no, no, Mr. Jungkook, please don't say like this. It hurts here. You whined dramatically, placing your hand on your heart. Jungkook let out a sarcastic chuckle, looking at you with raised eyebrow. Jungkook, why did you come, Miss Lee Yn? He called you by your full name, and it meant he was really pissed off. Wine, oh, I needed some signature on company's annual revenue file. You stuttered as you noticed him looking at you. Jungkook, who? He asked, snapping back to the reality. You frowned at him as it never happened that you had to repeat something twice. Why, I need your signature on it, Mr. Jungkook, you said matter of factly. Jungkook, then why are you standing? Put it on my desk, he said in his usual icy tone. You nodded your head and placing the file on his desk, you waited for him to sign on it. He closed the file which he was checking, and then grabbing the pen from the holder, he opened the cap and started to do the signature while you were impatiently waiting for him to sign it quicker as you had a lot of work to do. Jungkook, here you go, saying that he handed you a file. You bowed at him and then were about to walk out when he called you. Jungkook, Miss Wyan, get me a cup of Americano according to my taste. He said a smirk was tugging around his lips. You looked at him in a disbelief as you knew he was not gonna be towards you anymore. If you had any other choice, but sadly no other company in Seoul was going to hire you on this much salary. Jeon's company was multinational company and it was one of the biggest companies in Seoul. Every educated person wanted to avail a chance working in his company. The Jungkook was called boss, but the services here were too attractive. Why not Mr. Jungkook? You said sarcastically and left. After a few minutes, Wyan, here you go, Mr. Jungkook. You gave him a tired smile while placing the cup on the desk. Jungkook, you may go now. You must get tired today, so I don't want to make you more tired, he said, pressing his plump lips together, showing fake concern for you. You did not get what he intended to say, so you dashed out his cabin after slightly bowing at him. Time skip. It was around 9 o'clock at night. Everyone in the office had left. As the closing time was 8 o'clock, you were the last person to leave today, and that was all Jungkook's fault. No, not only you had to read those files and put the information in the laptop, but he asked the employees to feel free to give any reports or files to you to write or read if they didn't feel like in a mood to do that by themselves. And everyone in the office awaited the chance except Jihu. Now you got that why he said you must get tired today. The darkness of the office was creeping you out. You hated the dark. The only dim light that was still on was the one above your desk. Why, what if something pop out? A ghost? You thought in your mind while gulping down. Closing the laptop, you let out a sigh as you were really tired. Your eyelids could not stay open and your head was spinning like crazy. You were so exhausted at the moment as you kept on yawning, but suddenly your eyes fell on the blue color file, which he needed to be in his office in the morning. You grabbed it from your desk and walked to his cabin. You creaked open the door. The cabin was quiet and dark. Dark curtains covered the windows, blocking any light from coming in. You stepped forward, but it was so darkness that you were afraid you might hurt your leg. You wanted to turn on the light, but due to darkness, you were not able to find the switchboard. You slowly slid your hands on the walls, trying to feel for the switch. Step by step, you went forward, but suddenly you bumped into something. Why, is it another wall or what? You mutter to yourself as you bring your hand to the unknown object. You got really surprised to feel that it was not a wall. Oh my, then what it is, you muttered. The panic was taking best of you. You felt a fabric underneath your fingers. Jungkook, what are you doing in my cabin? He asked. Your eyes widened in the darkness as you heard familiar voice. Suddenly the lights turned on, making you shock. Ryan, I came here to put the. You murmured, not even completing the sentence as you lifted back your hand. Sweat was covering your body as you saw Jungkook slightly gasping. Ryan, I'm sorry, you mumbled. Before you could fall on the floor and break your bones, Jungkook grabbed you. It was first time. He was staring into your innocent eyes. He felt an emotion that he was not familiar with. With his red, he looked at you. Ryan, I'm so dumb. I should have taken my mobile phone from my desk. But see, you are right, Mr. Jungkook. I am not a responsible girl. You said, making him sigh. Jungkook, is this girl mad? Like, seriously? He said to himself while looking at you in a disbelief. Ryan, when Mr. Jungkook, I'm so tired. I don't have enough time, so I may leave now. You yawned, placing the file on the desk, and then rushed outside. Jungkook let out a sigh, feeling his cheeks getting. Time skipped the next morning, Ryan. But Ioma, why all of a sudden? You know I hate blind dates, she said loudly while arranging the files. Mom, no more excuses, Vayani. You are going on a blind date and that is final. Jongmoon would be waiting for you at Lay restaurant at 6 o'clock, she said. Why not, Mom? 6 o'clock is my working time in the office. Mom, I have nothing to do with it. You are going on a date and that is it. Saying that, she cut the call, making you grit your tense face. Jihu dragged his chair back towards you. Jihu, Wayan, what happened? She asked. Wayan, can you believe my mom arranged blind date for me and she wants me to meet the guy today. I have told her many times that I am not interested. I don't want to get married so earlier, you said. Jihu, so what will you do? She asked, face palming. Wayan, what else I can do than obeying her order? I will just meet that guy. It's not like I am interested, but you know I can't mess up with my mom, you said. Chihu, what if he could be some guy who collects old socks as a hobby? She said in a mocking way. You burst into a laughter. Wyan, or someone who calls his mom 3 times a day to report his every move a mama's boy? You said, making her chuckle. You both were chuckling, unaware of the figure standing just behind the partially open door. It was none other than Jungkook, who had stepped out to give you some files, but he froze at the sound of your voice. He was never able to understand that why his feeling was hearing about your update. He clenched his jaw, adjusted his tie, and then, without a word, he went back to his cabin. Jungkook, oh, what is happening to me all of a sudden? I don't have any right to feel this way, he muttered bitterly, his brown eyes narrowing. Time skip at 6 o'clock. You shut down your laptop and grabbing your bag, you rushed to Jihu's desk. Why and Jihu, should I Mr. Jungkook about half leave? You asked nervously. Jihu, don't worry, I will inform him. You just go and don't get nervous. All you have to behave weird in front of him, remember? She said, and you nodded your head before leaving outside. Jihu closed her laptop and went to Jungkook's cabin. She knocked at his cabin door and he let her come in. Jehu, good evening, Mr. Jungkook. Actually, I came to inform you that Mayan took a half leave, she said, making Jungkook rub his temple in frustration. Jungkook, why she didn't come herself and inform me? He asked coldly, as if he was trying to maintain his cool composure. Jehu, actually, she wanted so, but I asked her to go, or she was getting late, she said, smiling nervously. Jungkook looked at her. He cleared his throat. Jungkook, well, can you tell me in which restaurant she go? I mean, I just want to know, he said, shrugging off his shoulders. Jihu, it's LA restaurant, boss, she said in a meta tone. Jungkook, thank you, Miss Jihu, he said and stood up from his couch. Grabbing his overcoat from the rack, he quickly wore it and then rushed outside. Jihu frowned at his odd behavior, and then she also left outside his cabin. On the other hand, you entered the Korean restaurant your mom had chosen for you. You scanned the restaurant and spotted a man at the corner table waving at you. You forced a smile and approached him, feeling nervous. Fine. Hi, you must be Jongwon, you said while sitting down. Jongwon, yeah, that is me, he said, showing you his pretty teeth. He was a handsome and charming, there was no denial. Meanwhile, Jungkook, who reached the restaurant as he was watching you both, he ordered the food, and once it came, he put some kimchi in your plate, making you groan in annoyance. Jungkook was watching all that. His blood was boiling. He clenched his fist. He stormed back to his car and then left for his office. Back at the restaurant, Jungwon, so did you like me? He asked, cleaning his throat. You sighed while chewing the food. Ryan, listen, I don't want to hurt you, but I don't think so. We will be nice together. I'm sorry. But it is true that I don't feel something. You said, and grabbing your clutch, you left the restaurant before he could say else. Back at office, you knocked at Jungkook's cabin door while holding a stack of files which he needed signature. As soon as you had come in, you walked inside his cabin. Hello, Mr. Jungkook. You said, placing the stack of files on his table. He was standing facing the glass walls. Jungkook, oh, Miss Lee Ryan, he said coldly. Jungkook, am I right to assume that you left the office for your trip? He asked, turning his head towards you. Ryan, yes, Mr. Jungkook, you said nervously. Jungkook let out a sarcastic chuckle as he plopped down on his chair. Jungkook, how was it? He asked sarcastically. Before you could tell him that you rejected the guy, he spoke out. Jungkook, so do I know this guy? He asked, clearing his throat dramatically. Ryan, I don't think so, Mr. Jungkook. He is a research manager in a Victory Corporation, you said. Jungkook, oh, his name? He asked. You sighed at his sudden behavior. Ryan, I rejected him, Mr. Jungkook, so you don't need to ask me so many questions. You said, making him look at you shocked. Jungkook couldn't believe his ears as he excitedly jumped off from his chair and walked to you. Jungkook, seriously? You should have told me earlier, Miss Ryan. He almost squealed, which made you frown. Ryan, are you okay, Mr. Jungkook? You asked, looking at him concerned. Jungkook, of course I am. Now go back to your work. He said, smiling at you. You nodded, bowing down at him, and then you left his cabin. As you reached your desk, you sat on the chair while so many thoughts were swirling in your mind. Why he got so much excited after hearing that? Why he is behaving so odd? But if he likes me, then why he is keeping it in his heart? You said to yourself. The next morning, Ryan spoke. I went into Mr. Jungkook's cabin taking some files, but he was not there. I frowned and then asked his manager about as in those 9 months he never came late. Manager, he won't come today. You managed 2 days schedule, he said. But I couldn't hold the urge to ask why he was not coming today. Ryan, why? What happened? I asked, concerned about him. Manager, he is sick. He got a cold, he said. The anxiety raised in me as I got anxious about him. I nodded my head and then left to do my work. Time skip. I was not able to focus on anything as my mind was thinking about him all the time. I quickly collected my stuff and then I rushed outside the office. Soon I reached his house. I got out of the car. It's my first time visiting his house. I sighed and went inside to welcome by the servants. Once one of the maid guided me to his room, which was upstairs. As I reached there, I saw Jungkook laying on the bed. He looked pale and weak. As soon as his eyes fell on me, he lifted his head up and I noticed his eyes shining. As he smiled at me, Jungkook, I knew you must come, he said, making himself comfortable on the bed. When, oh yeah, your manager said you were sick, so I came to see you. Don't worry, Mr. Jungkook, you will get fine sooner, I said, sitting on the bed in front of him. He looked at me. Jungkook, Miss Ryan, you know the reason behind my sickness? He asked. Jungkook, it's you, Miss Ryan. Every night I keep thinking. He was speaking good, but I cut him off. Ryan, do you think I don't have feelings? I replied. Jungkook, are you okay? He asked. I nodded my. Jungkook, don't worry. He's making me gulp down. The next morning, Arthur spoke. You were in the meeting room along with Jungkook as he was discussing about the deal, which was going to increase the annual revenue of the company up to 50%. While he was telling his clients about the benefits of working in his company, you were busy playing with the pen in your hand. But suddenly it slipped from your hand and fell on the floor. You bent down to grab it. He gulped, giving you a side eye. You quickly lifted your hand and forced a smile at him. And this going throughout the meeting. Later in his cabin, Wyan Jungkook, you gasped. Wyan, boss, you said, your jaw dropped.